What if the most vivid memories you hold, the ones that define your past and shape your identity, are not entirely real? What if your mind, instead of being a faithful archivist, is a storyteller, subtly editing and even inventing details without your conscious knowledge? This isn't a philosophical musing, but a profound scientific finding that forces us to confront an unsettling reality about ourselves. It's a core reason why memory is unreliable, not just occasionally faulty, but fundamentally different from what we intuitively believe. For centuries, and even now, many of us operate under a powerful, yet flawed, assumption that memory functions much like a recording device. We picture a camera capturing an event, or a hard drive storing data, ready to be retrieved at will. We trust our memories, especially the strong ones, as direct windows into past experiences. When we recall a significant birthday, a harrowing accident, or a deeply emotional conversation, there's an inherent conviction that we are replaying the actual event, accurate down to the smallest detail. This belief underpins our legal systems, our personal narratives, and our very sense of self. But the evidence, accumulated over decades of meticulous psychological research, tells a vastly different story. Memory is not a recording, it's a reconstruction. Every time we remember something, our brain doesn't pull a pristine file from an archive. Instead, it actively rebuilds the experience, weaving together fragments of actual perception with knowledge, expectations, suggestions, and even current emotional states. This process is often remarkably efficient, giving us the feeling of a complete and accurate memory. Yet, it also introduces countless opportunities for subtle, and sometimes profound, alterations. The perfect recording analogy, it turns out, is deeply misleading. One of the most foundational insights into this reconstructive nature comes from the pioneering work of cognitive psychologist Elizabeth Loftus in the 1970s. In a series of now classic experiments, Loftus and her colleagues demonstrated the profound impact of post-event information on eyewitness testimony. Consider her famous car crash study. Participants watched films of traffic accidents and were then asked questions about what they saw. Crucially, the phrasing of a single verb could dramatically alter their recollection. When participants were asked about how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other, they estimated significantly higher speeds than those asked about how fast were the cars going when they hit each other. But the effect didn't stop at speed estimates. A week later, participants were asked if they saw any broken glass in the video. There was none. Those who had been given the smashed verb were far more likely to falsely remember seeing broken glass. The verb didn't just influence their initial judgment, it subtly altered their memory of the event itself, implanting details that were never present. This is the misinformation effect in action. New, even misleading, information can integrate seamlessly into existing memories, corrupting them from the inside out. The vulnerability of memory extends even to events of immense personal and public significance, those we call to flashbulb memories, because they feel so vividly etched in our minds, like a photograph taken with a flash. Psychologists initially thought these intense, emotionally charged memories, like where you were when you heard about a major historical event, were exceptionally accurate. However, research into events like the Challenger space shuttle disaster in 1986 has challenged this notion. A day after the disaster, participants were asked to write down where they were and what they were doing when they heard the news. Years later, they were asked to recall those same details. While they often expressed extreme confidence in their memories, the consistency between their initial reports and later recollections was surprisingly low. People frequently changed significant details, where they were, who they were with, how they heard the news, yet remained absolutely certain their current memory was correct. Their confidence bore little relation to their accuracy. The vividness and emotional intensity give us a strong feeling of accuracy, but this feeling is often an illusion. Further studies have even shown the potential to implant entirely false memories. Researchers have successfully convinced participants that they had been lost in a shopping mall as a child, or witnessed a demonic possession, simply through suggestive techniques and repeated questioning. These implanted memories felt real to the participants, complete with sensory details and emotional context, even though the events never happened. This isn't about malicious deception, it's about the inherent malleability of the human memory system, susceptible to external influence and internal reconstruction. So, if memory isn't a recording, how should we conceptualize it? It's far more accurate to think of memory as a dynamic, adaptive system designed not for perfect archiving, but for survival and future planning. Our memories are less about retrieving exact copies of the past and more about constructing coherent, useful narratives that help us navigate the present and anticipate the future. When we recall an event, our brain pieces together fragments, sensory details, emotional tags, general knowledge about similar situations, and fills in the gaps using logic, inference, and even imagination. This constructive process is efficient, allowing us to generalize from past experiences and learn, but it also makes our memories inherently prone to distortion and change. They are active, living things, not static data files. Understanding why memory is unreliable has profound implications across many domains. In the legal system, it challenges the absolute faith we often place in eyewitness testimony, highlighting the need for careful scrutiny and corroborating evidence. The risk of wrongful conviction based on genuine, but inaccurate, memory is a stark reality. In our personal lives, it prompts us to reconsider our own autobiographical narratives. The stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we've experienced are crucial for our identity, but recognizing their reconstructive nature fosters humility and openness. It means that while the past is foundational, our understanding of it is always evolving, always a story being retold by the most powerful narrator we know, our own mind. If our memories are constantly being rewritten, subtly altered by new information, suggestion, and even our current emotional state, how much of what we hold as our personal truth is genuinely factual, and how much is a compelling story our mind has crafted?